Right on.
Happy Wednesday, man. Happy hump day.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for another beautiful day in paradise, man. Another day to another opportunity to grow, to learn, to evolve, and here we are.
I love it. I love it. And there are the dogs. There's your roommate. I hope everybody's
Yeah,
doing well over on the East Coast, dude.
yep. The good old southeast here, where it's nice, warm, and humid, and sun's shining.
So, Will, this is episode 11. Can you believe it? We are into double digits with Chat with Will Grant, and when I look at the engagement over on YouTube, this is a serious message and a serious following that I think is adding tremendous influence to a lot of people. What are your perspectives on this growth trajectory of influence with these Chat with Will Grants?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's just really cool to see how it evolves and see how like we're evolving, because I'm still learning about this whole thing as we go. With each episode, I'm learning more and more, not only about how the system works, about how we can really connect with people all over the world, but just how I can improve my message, how I can improve my ability to communicate with others and to serve and to contribute. And then as well, being able to interact with people all over the world who are interested in the same things. I'm learning as well, because I'm learning through their experiences in the same way that I'm learning through my experiences as well. And man, I just think it's so cool that we can get on here and share our ideas and learn and evolve together, because ultimately, look, we're all in this together. We're just tiny little microorganisms that make up the macroorganism Earth. And, the more that we can work and function together, I think, the happier, healthier, and stronger we can be as a whole species, a whole planet. So, it's awesome, man. Like, I love just being able to, like, it's almost like, I mean, it is a live webinar where I can literally interact with people all over the world. And, it's just exciting. It's really cool.
Oh, well, I've loved being a part of this. So again, thanks very much for letting me come alongside you in doing
It
this.
wouldn't
I
be
know,
possible without you, Edwin. So,
well, I know I'm the wizard behind the screen, and I know everybody's really here to hear your insights and your influence that you have reflected upon over these last few years in your time of injury. And it's been really fascinating seeing your transformation as a leader in your circle of influence. It's been pretty remarkable, man. So congratulations to you for the self-awareness that has allowed you to come into what I think is just the beginning of your highest value contribution to the people that follow you.
yeah, thank you. And that's honestly what it feels like, like I feel like, I'm only 28 years old, but I feel like I'm just scratching the surface on not only my own potential, but just my potential to be able to contribute, and then, I really feel that true happiness is found by developing ourselves and developing what we're already innately good at, and using those strengths and talents to find unique ways to contribute to our community. If that's our friends, our family, our close, tight-knit community, or if that's our literal community of our town or our city or our state or even our nation, to even our world, like every single one of us, I believe, are here for a reason, and the more that we could connect with ourselves and connect with each other and connect with our environment, the more that we can connect with our greatest attributes, and connect with our greatest strengths. And when we can connect with our greatest strengths, that's when we're really able to contribute. And that's when we feel the best. Most of the time when we're not feeling really good, it's because we're not aligned with our purpose. We're not aligned with why we're here. And, we're thinking more of what we can get out of today instead of how we can serve today, and at the end of the day, the best feelings are going to come from the communion. The best feelings are going to come from the service and being able to tap into our uniqueness of what we're innately good at and using that to serve.
Absolutely. Hi, Roma. Thank you for joining us. She's on Facebook Live, so she says, hi, Will.
Oh,
So
hey.
good to see you, Roma. Thanks for joining on this platform. If you're joining us on Zoom or YouTube or Facebook, please comment below, engage with us. Will reads every one of those comments. So
yeah, that's one of my favorite parts about this whole process, is that we're connecting with people all over the world, so put in your questions, put in your comments, put in any insights that you may know that could help us, or any questions that you feel that we can maybe help you guys. This is beautiful because we can interact, because we can connect. We're all just one big network. So let's use it.
Yeah, these are amazing tools, Will. And I'm reminded, if there's one question I get as a personal development coach, it is always related to someone's happiness. And I really appreciate that you brought up the alignment component. And I'd like you to kind of speak to that a little more, because I believe people feel that happiness is some point on a map, a destination that they will arrive to at some point after a significant amount of time. And what I've learned from you is that you've created happiness, you've created healthiness, if that's a word, and you've created strong. Those are action words that create the outcome in the now. Can you take us there a minute and kind of help shift the perspective to happiness in the distance versus being in the present and creating it?
Yeah, well, happiness is nowhere but right now, and happiness is a practice. It's a practice of being in that present moment and practicing happiness. Happiness is not going to come based on some event or some external, outside circumstance. Happiness is when we could be into that present moment, let go of the future and let go of the past and be with what you're feeling right now, even if that current feeling is not happiness. When you sit still in that cross-legged position, or just sit still without any distractions, or without anything taking your attention, that's how you find happiness. Because when you first sit, all of the things that make you unhappy will come up. And it's a practice of being able to sit with that and to organize all of that and to align all of that. It kind of reminds me of a conversation I had with my brother. And this is not my brother that but I actually have another brother who spent most of his life in prison. And, and when he got out of prison, he was doing everything he could to get his life back together. And he was working really hard. He was so stressed. His life was really, really tough. And at the end of the day, he's like, look, man, I remember sitting in prison and I was thinking that when I was going to get out, I was going to be happy, but now, at the end of the day, I don't know if I'm happy. I don't feel happy. I'm so worried about tomorrow. I'm so worried about what happened. Everything is just overwhelming me. I'm not happy. And that's when I stopped and I said, bro, practice, or happiness is a practice in every single moment. If you want true happiness, it's a practice every day to wake up and practice being grateful. Most likely if you're unhappy, I would consider it coming from two things. One, you're being stuck in the past or stuck in the future. You're not in that moment. And one, you're just thinking about yourself. The more that you think about yourself and your wants and what you want to do, and, that brings this desire that is the stem of unhappiness. The more that you can get past your ego and what you want and, all of these things about you, it's, once we realize it's not all about us. And then the more that we can use our time here to just help out other people around us, the more happier we will be. The most selfish thing that we could do is help out the ones around us, and that's where the happiness is. And when we could get over ourselves and, and what we want and what we do and focus on why we're here. And that's to serve, and that's to contribute. We all have a work, whatever our work is. And the more that we can really just dive our full present being into our work of why we're here, that's happiness. That's when everything's fire and everything's in a line, and we feel that motivation and we feel that inspiration. And when that is dwindling, we're getting out of a line from our true purpose, and we're thinking more about ourselves and not about what we can do for others.
Amazing. Will, you remind me again, I was listening to a podcast with Brendan Bouchard earlier this morning. He's a guru of productivity, and he aligned happiness with freedom. And he said, you know what, Ed, when you are focused, clear, productive, and effective, those four things create freedom that open the realm of possibility for happiness. I know you've done a lot of introspection, reflection, and planning for the future that I think have created all those four things for you. You want to talk about focus, clarity, productivity, and effectiveness real quick?
Yeah, I mean, well, that's a lot. It's like, dude, it takes time. Nothing happens overnight. It's a process of every day of realigning our focus. But first it's like, what do we want to focus on? And what we focus on literally creates our reality. But so many of us seem to have little control about what we're focusing on because all of our external events or our situation is grabbing our focus, and it seems more powerful, more stronger than what we're capable of. But we can literally practice our ability to focus and then align that focus with whatever we care about, whatever interests us. And the more that we can just stop and let that dust settle and understand what we do really care about, what are our values, what are, the things that truly matter to us, and then we could put our focus towards those things. And then that's what true happiness is, because when we can find what we really, really care about, it's something deep down inside that we can't explain. But if we find what we really care about and put our focus on the things that we care about and just trying to improve whatever that is, that's where happiness is. That's where we're ultra productive, because we're naturally aligning ourselves, and that alignment is a realignment. Every single morning I wake up and I connect with myself and my breath and my body and my mind and my intentions and what I'm grateful for. That's my act of realignment. And then all this craziness that happens throughout the day, and when I get home and when I sit on the ground at nighttime, my mind's going all over. I'm out of a line, and I need to just sit and realign myself before I go to bed. So it's an everyday practice. And the more that you can realign yourself with your center or what's truly important to you, then you're just strengthening those grooves. Then you're just strengthening those networks to where it's much easier to stay in alignment.
Yeah, it sounds like patience and consistency, or lack of those two things, patience and consistency, is the devil that's going to throw you off of you finding happiness.
Or you can say, like, patience and consistency is the angel that helps you find happiness.
There you go.
Like, my brother's the first one to explain how much happiness there is in discipline. Not my brother in prison, obviously he wasn't the most disciplined, but my other one,
the one we've talked to.
yeah, who was very disciplined. He showed me the happiness in just being disciplined and waking up, and instead of letting your phone take your attention, or all this what you got to do later to take your attention, to just stop and to grab your attention and to focus it and to have discipline in a good morning routine, if that's some meditation or some movement or just going for a walk outside to realign yourself back with what's going on. That will create this discipline that creates happiness, because then you're going about your first activity of the day feeling good, because you had a nice, strong, disciplined morning routine that's going to make you feel really good.
Yeah, that's awesome. I was talking to you the other day, and you said something really captivating, and I thought it was just a poignant moment of self-awareness that made me realize just what a leader you are. Because my question to you was, we were talking about what we're going to talk about today, and the conversation was about your story and you this and you're this, and you said something. I think we can help more people and make a greater impact if we minimize the ego. That was such an amazing statement, Will. And, I remember you in those times of ego, because we've known each other a long time.
Yeah.
And you've grown.
I think I met you when I was full-blown ego, and I think that's all I had. I had something more in me. It was just so overwhelmed by just this massive ego I had of just trying to make Will Grant as great as Will Grant could be, and one thing I learned from that is the more I tried to make Will Grant great, and the more I tried to make myself great, the more I felt short of my true greatness.
Yeah, I think that's where a lot of us miss the mark, Will, and I think you nailed it. So that's an amazing insight that I would say you have gained through reflective?
And I remember kind of exactly when that insight started becoming clear is when, I was doing something, and this was when I first started really meditating and breathing and starting to, create these good habits into my life. I remember I was doing something and I caught myself thinking about how other people were perceiving me, why I was doing that thing. And my concern and my intention was how I looked, how Will Grant looked in that moment, and then I had this insight or epiphany or whatever you want to call it during that moment. And this was after, a while of meditating. I started to realize, like, look, if I blocked that out about caring about what people think of me and just focused on what I'm doing and do it as best as I possibly can, without a concern about what people are thinking about me or what people are, or how people are judging my ego. Instead, I just focused on doing what I'm doing as best as I possibly can and just trying to give my full being and my full attention, my full focus, all of my senses and all of my intelligence toward whatever the thing that I was doing. Then, my ultimate, if my goal was to look cool, to me, that was going to make me look better. That was going to make me function better. That was going to make the end result better. I was going to be happier because, the more I'm searching for that attention, the more I'm searching for that need to look good, the less I look good and the, less happy I feel, but when I'm diving into that moment, that's when I'm feeling good. That's when I'm feeling alive, and doing that on a consistent basis with patience. Then all of a sudden I wake up and now people think I'm cool. You know what I mean? Like, now people really value me. Like, now people are really starting to say good things about me for the first time in my life. You know what I mean? So, and it came from blocking out of me thinking of how these people are going to think of me, but instead just focus on what I'm doing and making sure what I'm doing is aligned with my values and aligned with something that's not only good for me, but that's good for you, that's good for the people around me, and that's good for this world. Because, like I said, the more I can diminish my ego, the more I can see in this unity. Like, the less I'm thinking about Will Grant, like, the more I can think about us. Because there's this vision that we see through our egos of, I'm Will Grant, you're Edwin Adams, and that's Jeremy, and this is this, and this is that. But to block all that out and just to realize, almost zoom out a little bit, because if you take that zoom and zoom out far enough to this community, now I'm just seeing Florida and all the people who are in Florida and all the people who are in the US or all the people who are in this world. We're just making up this one collective consciousness, and the more I can improve my consciousness, then all of a sudden my roommates, improves his consciousness, and then his consciousness raising improves my and that's how we raise as a species. That's how we raise as a community, and that's how we feel really good, by progress. Progress is happiness.
And that's how
Nothing feels better than waking Earth and going to bed knowing you got somewhere today.
Yeah, absolutely. And that kind of attitude is a pay it forward attitude that can be transformative in an exponential growth pattern rather than just one-on-one, because
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
impacting someone else and their circle of influence, and each one of those has different circles of influence, and you can change a community real fast.
Yeah, like, it's crazy. We have these this local pro who's been staying with us a lot, and and training and just learning from us. His name's Tyler Klumper. I'm pretty sure you know him. And he's just an amazing soul that is just like a sponge, just ready to learn and take, and then to take this and start putting it out into the community. And now all of a sudden, like, after, I'm not sure if it's 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, where he's been around very consistently, now it's like, he's South African, so, he's got family living in Europe, some family in, Africa, and some in here. And now all of a sudden his family's doing Wim Hof breathing. His family's meditating. His family's journaling. His family's having super smoothies. His family's eating more organic and more vegetables. And, like, when I hear him telling me this story, all of a sudden I felt alive. You know what I mean? Like, I felt so good, because that's progress. Like I've realized, that's my intention. That's my goal, is to really make this world a better place, is to really make, like the closest ones to me, like him, a better person, a better place. And then all of a sudden he's got family all over the world. He's got friends all over the world. And now they're, improving their communities and their families, and like,
That's pockets of Will Grant all over the world.
yeah,
Will
but it's
Grant's
not me.
influence. Will Grant's
But like it's not me, because we all know this stuff deep down inside. Like I'm just almost like the, I don't know, the conductor of the energy, just transferring it, because I'm learning it and I'm teaching it, but I'm also learning while I'm teaching. It's not me. It's in all of us. It's us, but it's super exciting and it's super thrilling, and nothing makes you feel better than seeing, or hearing a story of, seeing the real results of what's going on. And now all of a sudden they're happier, their family's stronger, they have a stronger relationship now with each other than, who knows how long, and they're healthier, they're happier, they're feeling good. And now they're putting that story to the next person, which is beautiful.
Yeah, that's amazing. We might have to get Tyler and Jeremy on the show just to hear the other side of the influence equation. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and like, I've learned just as much, if not more, from them, especially with Jeremy, because Jeremy is really, he's my main roommate. He is an elite level professional athlete, one of the most explosive, top professional athletes in the world. And I've probably learned way more from him than he's ever learned from me, because he's really, really, really good at everything that I'm not at, but it works well because I'm naturally talented and naturally good at everything that he has to work really hard on, so it's a good team that we're constantly learning from each other. I'm learning from him how to stay more calm, present, aware, and focus on doing my work really well. And he's probably learning from me of just going out and sending it and speaking and just trying and not being afraid to fail, because we all know I failed more than anybody I know.
Oh, wow. Wow. Well, it's clear that you're always better when you surround yourself with people who are better than you. So I think you've chosen wisely, Will.
And that's my goal, and that's my intention, is like, and the more I can connect with myself, the more I learn what I'm really good at. But you also learn what's a real struggle, and what I like to do is I like to surround myself with people who are really good at stuff that is a struggle for me. Like surround yourself with people who are better than you, who are better than you, that you can learn from, that you can feel grateful that they're around you, that you're learning from, and that their energy is raising your energy, and that steel is sharpening steel.
Love it. So, Will, you're returning to the competition stage in the latter half of this year, and it actually starts really soon. You're going to start traveling. You're going to start amping up your competitive spirit, your competitive training, your musculature, everything. I know you've spent quite a bit of time developing some structure and routine right now that is supporting what you're doing now. How is that going to transform moving forward? How are you planning for that reentry into competitive sport?
I'm taking it one day at a time, like I have my direction, I have my, I have a few goals of where I'm directing my destination, but I'm really just focusing on one day at a time, just trying to perfect each day and just trying to get a little smarter, a little stronger, a little healthier, and a little better each day. I'm excited to get back and really just being able to push myself, because that's where the growth is getting out of the comfort zone and finding what I'm truly capable of today, and then pushing that so I can be capable of more tomorrow, and that's really what me going back into the sport is for me. Like I said, back in the day when we first met, Edwin, me racing BMX and being a professional athlete was all about trying to make Will Grant as cool and as awesome as I could be, and just trying to, stroke that ego, so to speak. But now, like, I have a completely different mindset of like, look, I'm trying to I'm not trying to do this to make myself great, but on the side, I am trying to do it to make myself great. Okay. Like I'm not doing this to make myself look great by all these external events, but instead I'm trying to go back and just to push myself to dig, because when you're racing and when you're in a competitive spirit, you're pushing everything you got. And that's what's finding out how great you really are, of what you're truly capable of. And then I could go back and analyze and learn from that, and to learn, in that moment, in that race, where did I excel? Because that's when it really came down to that present moment when I couldn't think, I couldn't do anything. It just happened. And then I could go back and think, how can I improve? Like, how can I improve my thinking going up to that, my presence going up to that, my being, my energy? How can I improve each day? And then to diving into such a deep aspect of myself and of my brain, I learned so many lessons I can then take to help the next person get into the depth of themselves, and to find their potential of themselves, because I can't help anybody else find their potential unless I'm finding my potential every single day, and that's what this physical training is to me. Is I want to push myself as far as I possibly can to learn as much as I possibly can about myself, because you can't even understand another person unless you understand yourself. You can't help another person unless you've helped yourself. And that's what this is now is, like, how much can I understand for myself? And we understand by going into that cave of pain, of that pain cave, of that uncomfortableness of, when it's at the end of the race day and I don't feel like I have nothing left, and my mind is telling me that my body's sore and that I can't do another lap. And like, how did I overcome that thought? Like, how did I overcome these injuries? How did I overcome this? And that is just these lessons and understanding that I could use to not only create content that's going to help, but just find other creative ways to contribute to my friends like Tyler Klumper, who, has an awesome future career ahead of him. I want to take everything that I learned to help him, and then, and then all these people that he's helping. And we coach athletes all over the sport, and we're coaching, not only the athletes, but the parents, and not only the parents, but the older riders. Like, every single person that we come in contact with is an opportunity to serve and an opportunity to learn. I remember a quote that my brother, my oldest brother told me one time. Every single person is your master in the way that you can learn from them. Like, every single person we can learn from in some way or another, in some way, just by sitting and observing. And that comes the same with others and to ourselves.
Wow. So, Will, I've heard it said from many of my mentors that whenever an obstacle, a challenge is in front of us, you step forward from your pillars of strength and your confidence in those pillars of strength. You've had some time to develop some additional strengths and to hone the ones you have. When you re-enter competitive sport, what would you say are the top 3 pillars of confidence and strength that you're going to step forward with in racing for the very first time?
Nothing affects me anymore. Like, I feel pretty indifferent about a lot of things, which helps me focus and tone into that present moment. Like, I don't care if I mess up a jump and someone thinks I suck, but because that, it's a thought all the time. Like, I don't care if I don't do as well. I don't care if, like, I do care, because I want to be my best, because I want to perform at my best. But, if it's windy, or if there's a lot of competition, or like before, when I would go to a race, I would see all of these obstacles and I would have to overcome these obstacles, and these obstacles would be holding me back. Instead, I've just improved so much on being able to block out all that stuff and just focus on stepping into my best self. So what do I have to do to get in the right zone before that gate starts? What do I have to do to go out and have my best gate? And what do I have to do to have my best lap? And then to have, a better lap after that. And I'm just focusing on what I have to do. And I'm not focusing on how I'm going to look, or what the end result might be, or what my injuries were in the past. Or before, I would let my injuries hold me back from being my best in that moment. I would let, the fear of what I looked like in the future, or maybe if the result wasn't as good as I thought, all of that was just taking away from doing what I had to do as best as I can. So the more I can just block that out, and I've just improved being in the present moment so much more, and that's come from practicing every single day. And then instead of going out there trying to look cool, I'm going out there just to have fun, find out how I can improve myself, and then take all those lessons to help out that community of that sport. Because BMX racing is a really awesome sport. Like, BMX racing is beautiful because you're getting outside, you're connecting with your mind, you're connecting with your body. It's extremely difficult. You have to overcome fear, and you can really learn so many beautiful lessons with just all sports, really. But, I'm a little biased to BMX racing. But, and it's awesome to be able to see the other 8-year-old kids, 12-year-old kids going through that same process. And, then I can take my experience of what worked for me, what didn't work for me, and then help the next 12-year-old kid just focus on being his best in the present moment and not worry about trying to look cool for the other kids.
Yeah, that's amazing. BMX is a global sport, clearly. I mean,
Yeah, it's in the Olympics.
I've had the privilege of drug testing several BMX events around the world with my work with clean sport and doping control.
Anti-doping.
And I remember it being,
they're actually they're legally allowed to knock up my house anytime because of my roommate. Or like he's on that list where they could just literally, like, he has to send them a letter anytime he goes anywhere, and they have to know his whole schedule. And if you
your whereabouts, they need to know your
that's
whereabouts.
What they call the whereabouts. And from BMX racers are a little crazy. It's actually happened a few times where they go to your place 3 times and they don't find you, and they get suspended for like 6 months.
Yeah, it's a violation of the code of conduct.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's amazing what we have to do to protect clean sport, but I get it. In mentioning that, when I was in Switzerland, they have a beautiful BMX track right there outside of the UCI Velodrome.
Yeah, they have one of the best in the world. Like, that is the UCI Center. That is that's the hub of all cycling for the whole world.
That is correct. It was right there. And just seeing the BMX track, I immediately thought of Will Grant. And that's awesome. My one connection to BMX is Will Grant.
Well, not only one, now that you know Klumper and Jeremy.
Well, that's right, the whole crew. So I expect to see everybody
the crew
on the world stage. So that'll be awesome.
Yeah.
So, Will, I guess my curiosity is, I know we've watched you over the past year develop systems and practices to begin and end your day. How do you ramp up training, though, back into competitive sport from a physical perspective? What are you working on now to best serve you in competitive sport?
So I just got the approval yesterday, actually, to get back to riding and to get back to racing. But I'm trying to be patient with it all. So many of my injuries have caused because I've just rushed back into it and just started pushing myself so soon and not really letting my body take its time. So, man, I'm doing it differently this time. I'm going by how I feel. But what I've been doing is I've been going to the gym twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays, and just using that time to focus on my connection, to connect deeper with my body, to find these different connections that I maybe not have had, and to start building that strength again. So much of BMX racing is leg strength and core strength, so I've been really just slowly getting back into squatting and deadlifts and just building my leg strength back up so I can pedal that bike really fast. And then, I'm actually still doing my shoulder physical therapy as well. So, I'm still limited a little bit in my full range of motion and in my stability. So I'm just focusing on my weaknesses and what is holding me back right now. And, these pro athletes are strong, so I have a bit of a ways to really, I got to start building my engine again, so I've been, building my legs and building my core and still working on strengthening my shoulder and stabilizing on my shoulder. And then, now I just got the approval to ride. I'm going to start just riding my bike as much as I can. And I'm going to just slowly be progressing my strength and slowly be progressing my riding. And then I'll find a race. I'll sign up for that race and I'll just be in that present moment. And then when I'm on my ride home, I'll start to reflect what I need to work on and what went well.
Awesome. It's always those evaluated experiences that create wisdom within us. So that's awesome. So help paint for me then the the plan, because I know we're going to want to follow you. I know you're traveling this weekend, but I'm not sure if you're not competing this weekend.
No. So this weekend, is just a national in Rock Hill, South Carolina. Is one of the coolest tracks, and yeah, like a lot of the Corsa crew pros are riding. So my roommate and Tyler Klumper. It's actually me, Jeremy Klumper, and Gary all traveling, and then we're gonna set up the booth of Corsa Racewear, and I'm just there filming and supporting the riders, and I'm gonna get some riding in and some training in as well while I'm there, and just kind of see where I'm at to see, when I will be ready for the next race.
Awesome. Well, I know everybody here on Facebook and this amazing group of people will want to kind of see what's going on with Will Grant as he steps closer and closer to coming back into competitive sports. So
Yeah.
we expect you on Facebook Live at some point this weekend to tell us what's going on and to check in.
Yeah, also another really cool way to check back with really the whole crew is just following Corsa Racewear. Corsa Racewear on Instagram. That's where they go live a lot. And we're all using that to show our training, and that's where we put a lot of our BMX related stuff, and then at the events and even all of the coaching events, because we travel around Florida and travel around the country to different tracks and do coaching events, and try to bring up the younger generations. But these kids are learning so much more than just BMX. They're learning how to be their best selves, which is really amazing. So yeah, follow Corsa Racewear on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube, and you'll be able to see a lot of that as well.
Awesome. Well, Will, this has been fantastic. I am so excited that we have yet another social media outlet to get your message through. So
yeah, if you guys are listening right now, put in some questions that you guys have. If you guys have any questions, comments, or anything like that, throw them on in there.
Yeah, I am monitoring the feed. Will, I don't see anything, but man, I'm just so excited for you and what you're doing. Your influence continues to expand, and it matters. I love what you say about connection, because in these tumultuous times that we're in, from pandemics to riots to brutality, you name it, that clearly shows just how fragile our society is and how important connections are. And we can't build those in the past or the future. We can only build connectivity with people in the present. Yeah. So thanks for that awesome message.
And like something really crazy, I hope I don't butcher it too bad, but something really crazy. I've been listening to a lot of Zach Bush lately, Dr. Zach Bush, and he's so smart. And like, he's explaining that we are more what we are connected to than we actually are human being. So we're only 1% human. So all the rest, 99% of what the scientists kind of consider junk DNA, they're finally starting to find out that we are actually more of what we connect with. All these tiny little microorganisms and these little viruses and microbiome that make up the other 99% of us. We're only 1% human, and our genome or our DNA, I think that there's about 20,000 different variations. So and then I think a flea has about 30,000, so we're 2/3 of complex as a flea, so that could be pretty humbling. But what makes us special and what makes us beautiful is the other 99%, which is based on what we're connected with. And these tiny little microorganisms that go from inside of us to outside of us are made up from the foods that we eat, from the air that we breathe, from the connections and relationships that we have, and from the soil that we touch. We literally are our surroundings. We literally are our environment. That's why, if you notice, if people have been married for 60 years, they start to look alike a little bit, because they've got the same microbiome and the same organisms that's living within them, because they're eating the same foods, they're touching the same grass, and they're breathing the same air. And we have to realize that we are our environment. And that's why it's so, so important to realize that we are also an average of the top 5 people that we surround ourselves with. So surround yourself with good energy, surround yourself with good air, and surround yourself with good food and good soil. And by good, I don't mean delicious and tasty. I mean, that's good for us and good for the earth. And you can make really healthy food extremely nutritious and tasty, and just being able to connect with what is around us, it will give us such deeper understanding of ourselves.
Well said, sir. All right. Well, Will, let's land this plane. You're traveling this weekend. We want to reconnect next week and try this one more time. What do you say?
Yeah. I would love to do next Thursday as well. I want some feedback on some topics, because we could go over 1,001 different topics. Put in the comments below of what stuff that you want to hear, and then we will figure out and announce the topic on Monday or so. But we want to hear some feedback from now until then of you guys letting us know some cool topics that we could do, and then we'll pick one and then run with it.
Let's give them a challenge then, Will, because, for the person who gives us the most suggestions, they might be rewarded a course maybe, or
all right. Well,
interesting.
Okay. How about, so the most and the best suggestion. So whatever suggestion, that we ended up going with, you might get a course unless, Actually, hey, put down the suggestions, put as many as you want, and then we're going to pick one. We're going to run with the topic, and you're going to get the 6-week Happier, Healthier, Stronger course. For those of you guys don't know, that's my staple course that literally have taken all my best habits, my best routines, my best workouts, and put it into this 6-week progressive program that takes you from week 1, maybe not sure what to do, or, how to align yourself, or how to, get into your best self. And hopefully by the 6 weeks, you're progressing and stepping into your full potential every single day. And that's the intention of the course. I want to give it away for free. Happy, Healthy, Strong. And if you want to find out more about it, it's just on thewillgrant.com.
Perfect. So put your suggestions down below in Facebook, put it on Twitter, put it on YouTube, wherever you find Will Grant. Awesome, dude. Good to be with you today, Will.
Thank you so much, man. Hey, it's a pleasure being here, and I'm already excited for the next one.
Awesome. Can't wait, brother. Be safe this weekend. Good luck to everybody.
All right, see you.